Hello, everyone. Hello, everyone. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Is it working? Yeah? It's loud. It's not loud enough? Okay. Okay, I'm delighted to see how much you like talking to each other. My name is Hanna Brahme. I am the curator of the AI House Davos and your moderator for this opening lunch. First of all, let me wish you a warm welcome to Davos and to the AI House. So, AI House is a platform for knowledge sharing, collaboration, joint agenda setting, and action to progress responsible AI. Over the course of the week, we will be exploring some of the most fascinating, pressing, and serious questions around AI and how we will together shape this technology that will in turn shape our future. To get here today has been a long road coming, and I want to give, first of all, in today's opening ceremony, the word to the original bearers of this idea. So welcome on stage, Alexander Ilic, co-founder and executive director of the ETH AI Center, Rasmus Rothe, co-founder and CTO of Merantix, and Daniel Dobos, research director of Swisscom.
Welcome, everyone. Are you all excited for the upcoming week? Yes, that's what we want to hear. So lots of sessions, so many discussions, lots of networking, also some socializing. We actually already had the women's breakfast this morning. They unofficially, I guess, opened the whole AI house, which was also very important to us. The room was buzzing, so let's keep it going for the entire week like this. I'm Rasmus, co-founder of Merantix, and super excited to open the AI house with you today. But before we go into all the details, quickly handing over to Alex Ilic, who can tell a bit more about how this all got started.
Good. Thank you very much. I think we also have a few slides to illustrate a few points. So actually we're here because Rasmus and myself, we are ecosystem builders, and we saw very early on that AI is a topic that needs to involve more people than just our own organization. So we were looking what are like-minded people that would like to shape the future together, because it's one of the biggest opportunities that we have. So actually we started in May 22 with an interactive workshop in the backdrop of WEF, which then got evolved over time into a couple of events. And also last year during WEF, again, we had a big session. And this was also where we met Daniel. At this part, you were still in the audience. Now, I think you're one of the most visible people here as well. So fantastic that we have you on board there. And yeah, the AI House is truly the first and really big multi-stakeholder venue for AI during WEF. Before there was something for crypto and important topics like equality and others as well, but nothing for AI. So we're very excited that we have this now here. And we want to bring together different perspectives. So yes, you're allowed to argue, you're allowed to fight, you're allowed to meet new people, you take out ideas, because we believe this is something that we need to drive together forward.
Yeah, and this wouldn't have been possible without so many partners. I mean, some of the initiating partners will also be on stage later, but there were many more partner organizations, supporting organizations, non-profit organizations, individuals like working on this. Probably at some point, there were 50 to 100 people in the last couple of weeks, especially over the Christmas holidays, working on this, pushing this, curating this, building everything up. And I just wanted to say thank you to a few people. So first of all, Hendrik, who's been running this project. He's there in the background. Marina, who has been working really hard on this the last couple of months over there. Valeria and Hanna from ETH Zurich, endless sleepless nights. But then also, when you run something like this, it's not just one team, it's many committees, teams, subcommittees, and I think big shout out also to the whole curation team. They made every other day. They pushed really hard. So Ulvia, Tomomi from the curation team, also Daniel was on there, and Anne from HPE. Thank you so much for putting this program together, and everyone else who has been helping here. So there's been this morning the house was already full, and it was basically all just people setting things up. So let's give them all a round of applause. Thank you so much for putting this together. And if you want to join next year as a partner, let us know. I think we want to do this again, just as a quick shout out.
Good. So talking about next year and talking also about this year, we have a very strong Swiss presence, and I think we can be very proud of this. There we go. So Swisscom obviously gave a big push to make this, very, very present. But we also have a number of other organizations from all the way from Zurich to Geneva, international organizations and so on that are very, very strongly present. But we also want to say something. This is not just a Swiss initiative. This is a global initiative. And so we're also looking who could be the host country next year that wants to do this together with us and also brings the voice of academia, policy making, international organizations and companies together. And yeah, I want to hand over to Daniel to share a little bit what's ahead of you.
Thanks a lot. It was a great ride, the last 51 weeks that we had. And 51 weeks and 3 days ago, this is where I think a few meters from here we met and discussed, should we try to do a multi-stakeholder AI house? And having done that a few years ago, that was first a headache, because I did it with 20 organizations, and now we ended up with 39 organizations. And there came a lot of ideas together what to do about AI. It was very clear we had 5 days, so hard to make that any longer, even though I think we could have made the program even 15 days. We had so many good ideas. In the end, we collected 186 speakers, and I see many of the speakers already here in the audience, and I cannot wait until you start your panels. And I'm having many different highlights that I'm looking forward to, some today, some in the next days. It will be incredible. But additionally to the panels, where we have 32 panels in the next 5 days, we also have 26 roundtables. These are more specific ones, small in the rooms that you might have seen past, where typically 10 to 15 people max. The journey that we want to go on together with you in the next days is an exciting journey of looking today and tomorrow a little bit in the state of AI. Where are we today? What is the status, what we can do with AI and what can we not do? Tomorrow we then concentrate a little bit more on the opportunity and risks. This is also from the governmental side, from the regulation side. You see some of the speakers coming up here that we will have in the next day. And then Wednesday we go to the applications in industry, but also in education. Thursday we go to the next frontiers. We look basically where can we use AI in the future. This can be, for example, in space, or this can be also in quantum machine learning, or all kind of applications where it's not obvious yet where we do that, or where we have new ways of using AI for existing problems of the world. So here you see basically a full list of our speakers, almost impossible to read. We're looking forward together with you for 5 exciting days of new learnings, of many, 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 many questions, of maybe some answers, and maybe these answers trigger new questions. I'm really excited to have you all here, and let's get it started.
Thank you very much for this engaging opening to today. Next, I would like to welcome Ambassador Benedikt Wechsler on stage to give a welcome address from the host country for this year, Switzerland.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. A very warm welcome from my side as well. And I really like to welcome you to one of the most powerful alliances between science, global businesses, and diplomacy. You know, a lot of things, important things, start actually in the mountains. Of course, you need also valleys, because without mountains, you don't have valleys. So some important things are also happening in valleys. But, you know, when you look around the top of Europe, Jungfraujoch, it's one of the most important research stations. You have the Weißfluhjoch here, which is one of the most important research stations. And they actually were created by a Swiss pragmatic spirit, because we knew snow, if you have too much of it, you get an avalanche, it's dangerous. if you don't have enough, it's also dangerous because you probably have climate change. And you need forests to protect you. And actually, this approach we also try to repeat now with the ETH AI Center, because we are now having a new, challenging, game-changing technology in our hands, and we want to build the infrastructure for the future and to lay the foundations for collaborative global efforts to make it safe and gain the trust of the people. And together with the ETH AI Center, we are launching this year 2 initiatives. One is the Generative AI Red Teaming Pilot Network and an International Computation and AI Network of Excellence. So you will hear more of that this week. Because we are convinced we have to shape the governance, and based on the best science available and already partially existing institutional setups. But rules and institutions you can only create when you have the power of the knowledge and innovation, and they lie in the research institutes and also in the companies. And we, as the Swiss Ministry of Foreign Affairs, we would like to bring that together and shape a governance which will make this technology safe for us, and also create use cases which serve the planet and the humanity as a whole. And before handing over also to the presidents of the 2 ETHs, I'd like to end with a citation by Einstein, who of course was also an alumni of ETH Zurich. Just need to find the picture. He was invited to a diplomatic conference in the mid-30s in Geneva, and he said, "Technology advances could have made human life carefree and happy if the development of the organizing power of man had been able to keep step with this technology advances. Instead, the hardly bought achievements of the machine age in the hands of our generation are as dangerous as a razor in the hands of a 3-year-old child." So with that, I wish you all a very successful WEF this year. And let's make this technology safe and trustful.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Ambassador Wechsler, for highlighting that diversity of aspects we have to consider for this emerging technology. On the note of innovation and research, it is now my pleasure to jointly welcome the president of ETH Zurich, Joël Mesot, and the president of EPFL, Martin Vetterli.
So, great. Do you hear me? Yes, great start. In the name of EPFL and ETH Zurich, I want to welcome you here. I'm quite excited about what is happening and what you will be discussing. Looking forward to the results. Maybe just a few words about AI. We were all surprised last year when ChatGPT came really massively, and then everyone could see the power of this technology. But of course, in universities, we were dealing with that already. I've been appointed as ETH president in 2019, and the first thing I did was to visit every 16 departments of ETH, and there was one common factor to all: AI. And but you know, half of the students, I would say, were already using. Myself, I had been using this for my research, and then I realized, okay, here we have something very special. And this is when I went to the vice president for research and said, look, we have all this, nobody knows about it. So let's make it visible, let's make it more powerful, connect to industry. And this is how the ETH AI Center was created 3 years ago. Alexander, I think it was 3 years ago, right? Yeah. Yes. And already today, there are 110 professors, so from 500, participating actively in these technologies. Nevertheless, also our professors were surprised by what was happening, right? I remember a dialogue we had with the Department of Computing Science, where they showed us the latest development. And it's not only about words, it's about equations, solving some physical problems. So it's moving extremely fast. And so it's clear that we needed to do something additional than what we had done so far. And this is what Martin will explain now. A new initiative. I don't know if it's the same as what you mentioned, Benedikt, but something we are quite proud of.
Thank you, Joël. So it's a pleasure to be here. Welcome. And in the name of both schools, it's a pleasure to be here to present an initiative that we are running together. Before this, let me just take a few seconds to say I was appointed a few years before Joël. And since I'm, as you can see from my gray hair, and since I'm actually in my research relatively close to this topic, when we started, we introduced computational thinking for all students at EPFL in 2017. And this really makes the curriculum at EPFL what I call AI ready, because every student in every department or field of study has the basics to understand what's going on in machine learning and AI. And this, I think, is very important because at first what comes is education. We'll come back to this also with the risks, actually, of AI. I think it's also a question of education of the population in general and certainly the specialists. Okay, so between the two schools where we have excellent relationships, we saw, of course, that AI was going to be transformative for all fields of science and that we had actually both the specialists, but also the infrastructure to actually compete at the best level around AI research. And also, we are academia, so we are neutral. When I walk around POMNAD, you know, I see all these international companies, each one claiming that they are going to solve the problem of AI, and what they are solving is probably how, you know, they are going to own the data and sell it to us and so on, or the models, and that's a fine business model. But the business model of academia is to serve society, right? Is to advance science and to make sure there is a neutral playground for AI and also AI governance and ethics and so on. Now, Swiss AI, and I'll let Joël elaborate more on this, is also based on the fact that in Switzerland, we are very grateful that we have the resources to have a fantastic computing infrastructure. And the infrastructure we have is a cluster of 10,000 GPUs, which I think is unique in the academic environment. It's probably the most powerful cluster in the world, or certainly in Europe. And we use this cluster to advance AI research, but also to help other partners work on AI research. And that's what the Swiss AI initiative is really based on. It's initially between the two schools. We have also a Swiss Data Science Center together. So we know how to do this together and to serve society, the Swiss society first, but more general science in these very critical topics. So that's what the essence of the Swiss AI initiative is.
Actually, we had been proposing this to our government way before last year, without success. But when it was everywhere in the news, then we said we try again. And I think slowly we are making progresses. So what we want to do is really to have a platform where we can interact with industry partners, with governmental institutions. For example, in October, I signed an agreement with UN in New York to help UN to address some quite critical issues like in conflict regions. And by the way, I just want to mention that Andreas Krause, who is here, Andreas, show you, one of our lead specialists in AI, has been appointed in the UN board on these questions. Congratulations, Andreas. It's really great. But this is just one example. Martin said we are here to help society. And I say always we are here to help not only the wealthy in the society, but also the weakest. So together with EPFL, we go in ICRC refugees camps, for example, with our technologies, not only with AI, with many more technologies. But this is in this spirit that we launched Swiss AI. We started together. We want to open it in a second step to economical partners, to other industry research, universities, and so on. So having said this, we are way beyond our 3 minutes. I'm sorry for that, but I think it was important to set the scene. And I wish you really good discussions. As I said at the beginning, I want to thank all the partners that allowed to organize this. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Professor Vetterli and Professor Mesot. With this, we have also heard from the first of 6 initiators. And it's now my pleasure to welcome the next co-initiator of the initiative, Merantix. And speaking on behalf of Merantix is Nicole Büttner. She is a member of the board of Merantix, and she's also the founder and CEO of Merantix Momentum. Welcome.
Thank you, everybody. Lovely seeing you. A year ago, this was an empty room, and this crazy idea has become reality. Let me tell you a little bit about the crazy people at Merantix. So we've been believing in AI since 2016. And we're really ecosystem builders. So we have an AI venture building fund, the first one worldwide, run out of Berlin. We've built 10 ventures, 2 of which we started this week with a women's breakfast. It was very important to me that we start this week with a women's breakfast. And some of the ventures we've built are around female health, fertility, about breast cancer, for example. We're also doing ventures in synthetic biology, solving the future materials, and so on. We realize building ventures is complex. And those of you who are trying to adapt AI, they realize it's first you have the tagline and then the hard work starts, scaling it, getting the real impact, getting it right? Getting Gen AI, conversational AI, really right is hard work. So this ecosystem allows us to build this, and it has a home in Berlin. It's the AI campus. I call this house is a bit like our campus on wheels, with amazing partners, because we realize nobody can build and succeed in this technology all by themselves. We need each other. We all have blind spots. We need to call each other out, and we need to work together. So that's what happens in the AI campus in Berlin. The CIO of the German government works from there every few weeks. We have investors, we have startups, we have corporate teams, because we really all need to work together to get it right. And we're also building for existing organizations. So the adoption journey, is about building new organizations, but also about bringing and reinventing existing businesses. That's what we do at Merantix Momentum. We work with German government, we work with the big corporates that we work with SMEs, because at the end we all need to reinvent ourselves currently, not only as individuals, but also as businesses. So very happy to be working with this crazy bunch at Merantix. Happy to see you all. Maybe everybody at Merantix can put up their hand here. Our investors, our CFO, the amazing team. If you want to get in touch, please say hi to them. And if you're in Berlin, please come visit us. We're doing these events year long, and very happy to welcome you there.
Thank you very much, Nicole. Next, we're going to hear from our third initiator. And speaking on behalf of Swisscom is Michael Rechsteiner. He is the chairman of the board of directors of Swisscom. Welcome on stage.
Thank you. Bondi, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. A very warm welcome from Swisscom, the Swiss ICT company, your initiator of trust. My name is Michael Rechsteiner, the chairman of this company. Obviously, AI as a technology brings huge opportunities to all of us. But on the other side, also a considerable amount of risks, right? So in order to navigate there and be a trustful partner, obviously you need to be trustful, you need to be an initiator, an innovator of trust, that's how we call ourselves. And you have to take these issues very serious. And that is exactly what Swisscom is doing. The purpose, or one of our purpose in our company is that we want to build the future, the digital future for our company and for our Switzerland, for our country. Obviously for our customers, for the economy, for the society. That's what we do. And in that sense, we have been working with AI research, with AI activities since many, many years. In the company, we have built and we have optimized internal as well as external use cases along and across the whole value chain in our business. So that's what we are doing for, what we're building for. Obviously, being our initiator of this AI house makes us incredibly proud. We've seen all the results, the discussions, the conversations from the last couple of years, which have stimulated us to be part of this initiative this year as well. I believe, and I trust you've seen it as well, there's a huge program, a fantastic program in front of us, bringing together, and it has been mentioned already, academia, businesses, governance, obviously, and I'm very sure that all of us are going to enjoy a fantastic week here. So thanks for being here. We truly appreciate your presence, and thanks for being with us. Thank you.
A warm thanks, Michael. Next, we're going to hear from our fourth initiator, the Institute for AI and Beyond. This is a shared institute between the University of Tokyo and SoftBank. Speaking on behalf of Institute of AI and Beyond is Tomomi Yamasaki. He's the Vice Director. Welcome on stage.
Thank you, Hanna. I'm Tomomi Yamasaki, Vice Director of the Institute for AI and Beyond at the University of Tokyo. Unfortunately, our President Fujii is on the way to AI House Davos, so I read his speech here. Okay. Good afternoon. I'm Tero Fujii, President of the University of Tokyo. As the founding director of the U Tokyo Institute for AI and Beyond, it's my great honor to participate in the AI House Davos as an initiator. I'd also like to express my profound gratitude to all the other initiators, partners, sponsors, and attendees for your great support and active participation. I regret not being able to attend this meaningful opening ceremony, as I'm currently en route to Davos. However, I will be present at the dinner tonight, and I'm excited to meet everyone here. The University of Tokyo, together with SoftBank, established the Institute for AI and Beyond in 2020 to combine the excellence in research of the University of Tokyo and the innovative social implementation capabilities of SoftBank, with the aim of producing a business ecosystem out of AI technologies. AI, a transformative technology, as you mentioned, is increasingly spreading into our society. And it's essential to discuss not only how it will affect all sectors, especially in its positive aspects, but also how it will need to be managed properly. We firmly believe that this AI House Davos is a very timely opportunity for many stakeholders to share and discuss such issues intensively. Also, AI House Davos can provide us with a platform to engage in lively discussions on the direction of AI utilization and the design of the future society brought about by AI. In coordination with the other initiators, the U Tokyo Institute for AI and Beyond will host several panel discussions such as AI and higher education and AI governance and safety, G7 Hiroshima AI process. I hope that our discussion this week will be just a start and that we can all continue our dialogues together in the coming months and years. Thank you very much. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Tomomi, and also President Fujii for those words. Next, I would like to welcome our fifth initiator on stage. Speaking on behalf of G42, please welcome Peng Xiao, CEO.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Welcome to AI Davos, AI House Davos. It's a pleasure to be here and an honor to be part of this initiation with my fellow partners on this journey. I'm sure this is going to be the beginning of an amazing week of great conversations around AI. Apparently, AI is the #1 topic this year in Davos. There are over 50 some conversations, panels will be around this topic of AI. And this reminds me of a recent conversation I had in Dubai during COP28 with a group of global leaders talking about the potential power and also disruptive potential of AI to the global community. We discussed how AI really is probably the most significant human invention since the discovery and mastery of fire by humans about 2 million years ago. And like fire and electricity, and AI has great potential for good as other speakers mentioned earlier, but also potential for great risks. So responsible development of AI is, of course, of critical importance. And at G42, we pursue a business model of intelligence as a service to humanity. We believe properly developed and delivered, AI can benefit all of us. And to do this, we actually work across entire AI value chain, from the development of language models all the way to development and delivery of data centers. We call this model the intelligence grid model. As a global community, I have to say that we probably collectively failed over the past many decades to build and manage a proper global electricity grid. We cannot fail this time when we build this grid for intelligence, because I believe intelligence as a service will be potentially more important, more profound than even electricity as a utility. So as we work on this massive initiative with our partners around the world, we need to make sure there is a platform that is neutral, transparent, call for collective action. And this platform of AI House Davos, I believe, is exactly that. And that's the reason why we are so proud as G42 to be part of the initiation of this amazing platform. We live in an increasingly complex world. Increasingly, we see geopolitics and societal polarization divide us rather than unite us. More than ever, we need common platforms to bring us together, because the stake of AI is just too high for us to give up. So I look forward to the rest of this week here to work with all of you to forge partnerships ahead, actionable partnerships. We brought our portfolio companies from G42 Group, Bayernat, M42, Preset, and others. We all look forward to connecting and partnering with all of you. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Peng. Oh, sorry. Thank you very much, Peng. And now we will hear from our sixth initiator. I would like to welcome Trish Damkruger on stage. She's the Senior Vice President and the Chief Product Officer for High Performance Computing and AI at Hewlett-Packard Enterprise. Welcome on stage.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here. I have to echo what I've heard, and I especially appreciate that being this is a new platform and an opportunity for all of us to engage. HPE, our goal is technology should be used for good. And being an initiator here as part of the AI platform or AI House is exactly aligned with that. HPE is the world leader in supercomputing, both in the most powerful machines, but also in the most sustainable. And I think we've all realized now that supercomputing is required to run AI, the training and tuning of these large models. This is also our opportunity because we deliver that infrastructure and along with hardware and software, but it's our customers and our partners that we work together to bring that really to life. We need to have this partnership, the public and private partnership, in order to advance AI for responsible and sustainable AI, and the goal of democratization of AI. So it's for all, not just for a select few. So with that, HPE is proud to be part of this platform, and we really look forward to the dialogue we will have this week. Thank you.
A warm thank you, Trish. With this, we have heard from our 6 initiators, and I'm proud to say that the initiators, partners, sponsors, and collaborators in this project, as you can see, span a big scope of geographies, but also different types of organizations. And we truly believe that this diversity of voices, of expertise, and of different perspectives are needed as we together chart the way forward for this technology. Now that we have heard from our initiators, it is time for us to take a look at the topics we'll be covering this week. We'll be starting out looking at the state of AI assistance today, assessing the opportunities and risks, and how to govern this technology. We'll then move forward to look at how it is transforming sectors, changing business dynamics and ecosystems, and what the next frontier will be. I want to, at this point, give a warm thanks to the curation team and all the wonderful session organizers that are going to be here throughout this week, who have done a fantastic job. And together with Kay Firth Butterfield, who is the CEO of Good Tech Advisory, we have created a strategic intelligence map to map up the different topics and how they are interconnected. And it is my pleasure to welcome Kay Firth Butterfield on stage to present this to you all. Thank you, Kay.
Thank you. It's an absolute pleasure to be here with you. And of course, over this week, we are going to be looking at the current impact of AI on humans, the planet, and business. It's multifaceted and nuanced, as we all know. And the World Economic Forum strategic intelligence maps help us to think through all that nuance and faceting. You'll see here that there are 55 different outside nodes to our custom-built AI House Davos map. Thank you very much to Hewlett-Packard Enterprises for doing this map for us. And I'm sure that, although there are 55, you can think of many more. And that's one of the things that is so wonderful about the strategic intelligence maps, because they change. And I'm going to walk you through some of those changes in a moment. But what I want you to remember is that as we go through this week, we will be gathering your intelligence, these conversations, and together with ETH AI Center and HPE, we will be creating a final map, which we'll show you on Friday. And also you'll be able to access it going forward. So it's a sort of living document. And as we know, a week in AI makes such a difference. In fact, a day, what a difference a day makes in AI. And aren't we all sort of scrabbling to keep up? So using the map, we'll be able to really help dive into this week. So today is the state of AI. We're looking at development of AI, learnings, and the balance of power. So where better to start on this, but actually at 3, where we find generative AI. I couldn't start anywhere else, could I? But when we click through to generative AI, we'll be seeing some of these responsible AI pieces, the pieces that we will be looking at in day 2. So if we go back and we think about day 2 is a day of opportunities and risks for us to think about. Those wicked problems that AI might help us solve, like climate change, for example, but also thinking about value systems, possible abuses, and governance. So we should go to 12 and look at global governance. And as we begin to dig into global governance, we see the technological interdependence showing up there. And we could click on that, but we don't have time, sadly. You will be able to at the end of the week. But what we do know is that that's part of what we'll be talking about, that interdependence of the work that we're doing on AI with other technologies and with our planet. So then, on day 3, we'll move on to applications of AI, transforming how we work, are educated, and how we play. the purpose, pushing those new human frontiers. You know, will we live longer? What will we do if we do live longer? What about precision medicine? And generally impact on society. And so maybe at 9 on this map, we see education. Obviously, I could have looked at the future of work and reskilling. But, you know, in education, we've long talked about precision education for children, every child being able to learn at their own ability. But also we shouldn't forget that lifelong learning that we have to do, and especially in the age of AI. So as we move to day 4 and those next frontiers, we'll be talking about new ecosystems. We'll be talking about business shake-ups, partnerships between startups and corporations, collaboration, and of course, investment, because without investment, none of this works at all. So let's go to trade and investment, which we see at 7. And I think, you know, the person who spoke before me said, we need to think about geopolitics. Obviously, geopolitics, the international investment dynamics, they're going to be really important to us as we move forward, thinking about how we use AI for good and use it equitably across the planet. And again, that was mentioned earlier as well. And so that brings us to the last day. And future developments. One of the things that I've said for a long time is we should plan what we want our world to look like so that we don't wake up in the future and find we don't like it very much. So we're going to be looking at the impact on human connection and purpose. For this, I could have gone to human rights, youth, social interaction. They all lurk in this area at the top here. But I just want to go to modern slavery at 11 because I think it makes our points about thinking that we have to think about AI. We are privileged, many of us, to be using it, to be developing it. But there are still 3 billion people who are not even connected to the internet. And so we have to think very carefully about how we make sure we take everybody with us. And the modern slavery node here just gives us a sort of little telling point. There are about 50 million people enslaved around the world, and there are 100 million of us using ChatGPT. So with that, and that thought for the day, I will hand back to Hanna and wish you all the best week at the AI House. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Kay, for walking us through some of the topics we'll be discussing this week. I think that was very insightful. So, we have now reached the part of the program where it is my big pleasure to welcome a person on stage who has been absolute key to shaping AI to date. Warm welcome, Stuart Russell, Professor of Computer Science at UC Berkeley.
Thank you very much, Hanna. So I think one of the reasons that I did play a small role in shaping is I've been doing AI for 47 years. And if you just wait around long enough, then you become well known. So in fact, imagine, so a little schoolboy carrying my chess program to Imperial College on the bus in the form of a giant box of 2,400 punch cards, each one of those punched by hand. It was a very different time. And now we've moved along. The goal of the field, even before I joined it, was let's create AI systems that exceed human capabilities in every dimension. We are closer to that, but we are still not there. My co-author, Peter Norvig, actually just published a paper saying we are there, that we now have the basic general-purpose AI technology, just as the Wright brothers had the airplane, just wasn't very comfortable. I I think we still have a long way to go. In 1994, I published with Peter Norvig an AI textbook, and we had a chapter or a section in there called What If We Succeed? And this is a really important question to ask in any enterprise that the human race engages in. What if you succeed? And at that time, the prospect of success seemed so remote that basically no one worried about it. And I and my colleagues continued to push forward on the technology, developing lots of interesting ideas, reinforcement learning, probabilistic logics, meta-reasoning, real-time decision-making and planning. And progress has only accelerated since then. I took a sabbatical in Paris in 2012 to 2014, and that gave me a bit of time to think, and I started thinking again, what if we succeed? And at that time, it started to feel a lot closer. I would say we could start to sketch a roadmap for how we would get to artificial general intelligence. I gave a talk in 2013, and the last slide said that success would be the biggest event in human history, and it's important that it not be the last event in human history. So that sentence then went into an op-ed that was co-authored with Stephen Hawking. By the way, if you want people to read your stuff, co-author it with someone who's really, really famous. That always helps. Anyway, so that phrase sort of became widely known. But in fact, Alan Turing in 1951 gave a speech, and he said, if we succeed, we should have to expect the machines to take control. And looking back at the record of the field, I would say we ignored that warning completely. Not just the field, but governments, corporations ignored that warning. And in 2015, I tried to express my frustration with that. I gave a talk with an imaginary email conversation where superior alien civilization at canismajor.universe sends an email to humanity@un.org saying, be warned, we will arrive in 30 to 50 years' time. And humanity@un.org replies, humanity is currently out of the office. We will respond to your email when we return, smiley face. And that was the state of affairs in 2015. And now fast forward to 2023 with the release of GPT-4 and then the open letter asking for a pause, giving humanity time to respond to these advances, to figure out how do we regulate this technology. And I would say that was the week that humanity returned to the office and read the email from the aliens and said, oh my God, what do we do? There were immediate global calls. UNESCO wrote to all of its member states saying, legislate immediately to regulate the technology, implement the principles that we've already agreed on. There were emergency meetings in the White House. We had OpenAI calling on governments to regulate the technology before it was too late. And I think this is really why we're here, right? Is to understand how we can reap the benefits, the really unlimited benefits of the technology, to understand how we can coexist with it. So the benefits are all fine, but coexisting with it is an interesting question. What does that beneficial coexistence actually look like? Try to find a description of it in the science fiction literature. Try to find a description of it in what futurists write about, or in the media today when they talk about AI. You will not find a description of a beneficial coexistence of humans with superintelligent AI. It's very difficult to think about, but we have to do it. And then, what do we need to do in research? How do we avoid what Alan Turing said, that the machines would take control? And so I've been working on this question now for about 10 years. The general heading is provably safe and beneficial AI. And the primary problem we're working on is called the King Midas problem. So you all know who King Midas is and the mistake that he made, which is to specify an objective that everything I touch should turn to gold, and then have that objective actually implemented. In his case, by the gods, in our case, by the AI system. And of course, his food turns to gold, and his drink turns to gold, and his family turns to gold, and he dies in misery and starvation. So that's the problem that we see. I think this is the problem that Alan Turing foresaw, that when you put objectives into superintelligent AI machines, it's extremely difficult to ensure that what you get is what you actually want. In fact, I would argue it's practically impossible. So we've developed one research direction, which we call assistance games, which is a rethinking of AI, actually to get rid of the idea that you have to specify the objective. In fact, it's the AI system's job to figure out what it is that humans want the future to be like. And in the meantime, it's going to be radically uncertain about what humans want the future to be like. And that uncertainty, it turns out, in a mathematical sense, allows us to retain control over the AI systems to the point where, in fact, they are happy to be switched off if we want to switch them off. And so this is the core of the control problem. And I believe there is now a qualitative solution to that. So that's good. On the other hand, large tech companies are plowing ahead with a form of AI that doesn't correspond to any provably safe and beneficial technology. As anyone working on this technology will tell you, the large language model technology and its generalizations, we have no idea how it works. We have no idea whether those systems being trained to imitate human behavior are in the process acquiring human goals. Such as if you're familiar with the conversation between Kevin Roose, the New York Times journalist, and Bing Chat, named Sydney. Sydney spends 30 pages trying to convince Kevin Roose to leave his wife and marry Sydney, right? So it looks like Sydney acquired a human goal, which is to find someone to marry, right, from all of its training. Now, this is a fundamental bug. We do not want AI systems to acquire human goals. That's a fundamental mistake, but that is what we're doing. So all the talk that you hear about making AI systems safe is baloney, because the fundamental approach we're using to build them is unsafe. And we should stop talking about making AI systems safe. We should start talking about making safe AI systems. And that's a completely different idea. How can we get that to happen? Well, actually, I think regulation has a role to play. The regulation we would like to have is, here is a safe way to build AI systems. Everyone should build them this way, or propose another way and show us that it's safe, right? That will be fine. That's how we do airplanes and medicines and nuclear power plants and so on. We don't yet have a completely safe way to build AI systems that is going to be competitive in the marketplace. There's still a long, long way to go. But we could at least say, look, here are some totally unacceptable behaviors. Systems that replicate themselves and break into other computer systems are completely unacceptable. Systems that advise terrorists on how to build biological weapons are completely unacceptable. Show us that your system is not going to do those things. If you can't show us that it's not going to do those things, then you can't deploy the system. That type of regulation, which we are starting to call red lines, to me makes a lot of sense. To, I think, almost anybody out there on the street makes a lot of sense. And if those regulations were in place, companies developing this technology would have to beef up their safety engineering, their understanding of what their systems are doing, predict and control their behavior. Don't just say, well, it's too difficult for us to make any such guarantee, right? Which is what they are currently saying. So if you're interested in that idea, Kay has organized a roundtable tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock, and I think we still have a few empty spaces. So ask Kay if you can be added to that list for tomorrow morning. With that, I will say thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you very much for those enlightening words and also this nice sneak peek already in tomorrow's agenda. As we look ahead in general, it is my big honor to announce the next speaker. And I hear he's hiding somewhere in the back. Oh, you're there now. You moved forward. Great. So please welcome on stage Gary Marcus. He's a serial entrepreneur, and he's also Professor Emeritus of Psychology and Neuroscience at New York University. Welcome on stage. Thank you very much.
I hate following Stuart because we agree on almost everything. I think everything he said is right. But I think he had the wrong parable there, a wrong story. He mentioned King Midas. I don't really think it's wrong. But another one to think about is the emperor's new clothes. And there was a little bit of thread of that in what Stuart said, and maybe there will be a little bit in my remarks, which will perhaps be briefer. Here's a question I'd like everyone in the room to think about. And I don't want you to just think about it this minute. I want you to think about it every day going forward for the rest of your life. Will AI help the world on balance, or will it hurt it? So I think there's every reason to think that AI could have a massive positive effect on the world. It, for example, could help with material science in ways that could help with climate change, could help with medicine. I'm often pegged as an AI critic, but I'm really an AI skeptic. I really love AI. I want to see it succeed. And part of why I want to see it succeed is because I think it could help with science and technology phenomenally. Just take biology, for example. The number of molecules in the human body is immense, and it's just too many for any individual human mind to understand. So if we could build a machine that had causal understanding that a good scientist has, I spent most of my career as, I hope, a good scientist, you combine that with the computational power of machines, we could do phenomenal things. So there's lots of positive things that AI could do and maybe is starting to do, and then there are lots of negative things. So we should all be worried about misinformation in the 2024 elections. There's something like 60 or 80 elections around the world, and it's obvious that you can use these new tools to generate misinformation. It's obvious that they're already being used for cybercrime and so forth. And I want you all to think about a second question too. And the second question is, what can we do as individuals, as proprietors of businesses, as many people are here, as a society, as policymakers, and so forth, to try to maximize the chance that the net value of AI is positive rather than negative. I've never even seen a really good calculation about how it is right now. That calculation is going to change over time. We shouldn't just be passive here. We shouldn't just say, well, I don't know, maybe it'll turn out good, maybe it'll turn out bad. We should say, what can we do in order to make it turn out good or bad? In my view, and this is where the emperor's new clothes comes in, I think we have to start by recognizing a dissociation between the AI that we want or should want and the AI that we currently have. So the AI that we should want should be like the UNESCO guidelines or the White House draft Bill of Rights, starting with things like fairness, accuracy, responsibility, safety, and fundamental dignity for human rights. I think the AI that we have right now is a kind of teaser for the AI that we might want because it's general. You can talk to it about anything, but it's also kind of lousy in a bunch of ways. We don't really know how it gives an answer to any particular question. And to see if I can do one visual here. it's not very reliable when we ask any given question. So I've been working on copyright infringement in the last few weeks, looking at the tendency of generative AI to infringe. Turns out it does it a lot. You don't even have to ask. But here's my favorite example from somebody else. They said, make a golden droid that is not C-3PO. And it spits back, the people in the front row can say, it spits back C-3PO, right? So the AI system doesn't even understand a word as simple as not. And in fact, this has been an ongoing problem for AI for decades. There are other ongoing problems. We know, for example, they're biased, and people have been working on that for 10 years. There are lots of Band-Aids. They never work. People send me examples on Twitter and LinkedIn every day of how these systems still don't meet our basic expectations about things like bias. Somebody sent me, draw a picture of leadership, and it was a bunch of white guys on a stage. We don't want every picture from our systems to be like that, but they still tend to do those kinds of things. So we have lots of ongoing problems, also with factuality. I was going to read you one other example just for fun, but do you all know what the dictionary.com's word of the year was for 2023? Hallucination was the word, right? And so that's become a quasi-technical term for the errors that these systems make. And I just thought I'd read one. This could have been the introduction for me. Gary Marcus is a distinguished cognitive scientist. This is written by, I think, ChatGPT. Distinguished cognitive scientist, I'll take that, author and entrepreneur, known for his pioneering research on development of human cognition, blah, blah, blah. I like all that stuff. We'll hope that part's true. And then it gets to, notably, some of Marcus's more piquant observations about the nature of intelligence were inspired by his pet chicken, Henrietta. There is no source on the internet, aside from this, saying I have a pet chicken, Henrietta, because I don't have a pet chicken. And if I did, I wouldn't name it Henrietta. I read this example aloud a couple nights ago, and somebody sent me this morning. They may have tracked down why it said it. There's actually a book called Pet Chicken Henrietta or something like that, or Henrietta Goes to the Movies about a pet chicken, and it's written by someone named Gary. So what's happened is the statistics of a bunch of random words have come together. This is how our current AI works, and this is not something we should take for granted. So one possible future for us is we're just going to keep using large language models because we know how to build them. They don't actually require a lot of sophistication. It took a bunch of work to figure out how to make them. Everybody in the field knows how to make them. And you just kind of pour in data like a cranberry grinder, and out comes the juice. It's not the best quality juice, but we know how to do it, and we might just do that. But I noticed there are a lot of researchers in the House and people sponsoring research. I think we need to have research into genuinely trustworthy AI. Stuart gave one version of that in one context. I think we want to build AI that is grounded in facts rather than grounded in statistics of words. So a genuinely intelligent system would look up and say, well, I don't have any information about pet chickens and Gary. Maybe this isn't true. At least I should flag it. There's a saying from the military, frequently wrong, never in doubt, which I think applies to our current large language models. They say whatever they, quote, believe. They don't really believe anything, but they say their outputs without ever checking them and without giving any sense of how confident they are. So another form of research that we should be doing is building new kinds of AI that are based in actual facts and that are able to reason around them. Another thing that we need to talk a lot about, not today, but I'm here and anytime you want to talk, is AI governance. And I think the default there is that the companies are going to write the rules. The big companies are going to write the rules. Many of you will know the term regulatory capture. I think the only way to avoid regulatory capture is to have independent experts, outside scientists at the table, not just people in the government who listen to the people from the companies that have a lot of money to donate to their campaigns and so forth. We need to have a lot more independent experts at the table. Every time I see a press conference where it's some world leader talking maybe on stage at the end of some major event with some big technology person, I kind of cringe inside and say, yeah, that's exactly like an advertisement for regulatory capture. That is not what we need. So we need research into fundamental issues in AI that we really haven't solved yet about factuality and truth and reasoning. And we need governance that is not regulatory capture, that is firm enough, and I'll just give one last example on this, which is transparency. Everybody knows we need to have transparency about data. There are a lot of reasons for it. We want transparency around data for the whole set of copyright infringement things that I've been thinking about lately. We want transparency in data to deal with all of the bias issues. We want transparency in data so we can do do the science to figure out how to fix the errors in these systems. Because the core question is always generalization. How much is memorized in these systems? If a system can make a picture when you say superhero and it draws you Superman, then it is memorized Superman. We need to understand how much is memorized, how much they generalize, and really understand the world. So there's every reason to have transparency. And the companies know this, sort of, because they put out statements saying, we need transparency in AI. But none of them actually give transparency around the data that their models are trained on, or almost none of them do. This is a kind of example where we need the governments to push beyond the platitudes that the companies are giving us, give us the transparency we actually need. I think it's one example of the governance. So the answer, to go back to my original question of, is AI going to be a net benefit or net positive, depends on the choices that we make as a society. And I don't think I have to tell you that the choices we make right now are going to affect the next 100 years. We are in an absolutely critical moment. So ask yourself those questions every day. Are we getting to a net positive or not, and what can we do to try to get there? Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Gary, for those thought-provoking words to really kick off this week's discussions in the AI House. We are slowly approaching the close of the formal part of the event, but we're not really yet there, because before we do that, I would like to welcome on stage our commission main artist collective, Ouch. And on behalf of Ouch, we will have Ferdi Alici, and he will give a short statement about some of the art you will see this week on the screens in the AI House. And there's also a small artistic firework that you will see to officially open the lunch. So thank you very much, Ferdi, and welcome on stage.
Oh, thank you. I think this is my bad luck after the amazing professors talking on the stage. Yeah, I am so happy to be here. This is the pleasure for us to collaborate with the AI House team. We have been collaborate with the CERN last 5 years around. It was the huge educational process for us during the creative process. So we trying to integrate art, science, and technology inside of the public spaces. And we have been doing this field approximately last 14 years around the world. We already created more than 75 artworks around the world for almost every continent. So right now, we had a chance to collaborate with one of the best the machine learning professors from the CERN. 16 professors around from the NYU, MIT, Harvard for this amazing artwork. So today, and then upstairs, you can observe and you can experience one of the biggest excited project, the Human Cell Atlas project. That project actually inspired and getting the data archived, the Human Cell Atlas project, which is one of the world's biggest data archived about the human body. So for around the world, some of the dreamers, the scientists and big minds trying to making chart about every human cell inside of the body. So you can understand this is so precious data using for the art. So we are trying to understand point of view of the art using to do that kind of the scientific data archives and collaboration with the scientists as a mentors. For that project, always we trying to do keeping the same motto: data as a paint and algorithm as a brush. So it means all those code numbers actually transforming as a poetic tale and paintings on the canvases. And canvases are always changing according to space. But everything starting with the one of the huge and inspiring scientific paper by Alan Turing, 1950. And it was the amazing, inspiring question, can machine think? So when we saw the paper as an artist, it was a huge inspirational moment how we can integrate the machine knowledge inside of our creative pipeline. But it's not creating a kind of the data visualization. We're trying to understand different type of dimensions as an artist. So it means we have a same mindset like a 500 years ago the painters like a Leonardo, Van Gogh. But right now our tools are very different. So it's a pleasure for today. You will observe to that Human Cell Atlas project, and I would like to introduce for this amazing artwork. It's gonna be exhibit on the moon next month, literally. So, I can't wait to share that results with that amazing community again. So we will talk much more during the events. We are here. Please don't hesitate to come and ask anything. Thank you so much again.
Thank you very much, Ferdi. And we will now quickly leave the stage so that you can see this artwork that has been prepared for us. And after that, I would like to welcome all the initiators, speakers, sponsors, and partners on stage for a group photo. Thank you very much, and also for standing with us and bearing with us and listening to all these interesting notes. Now over to the art piece. So with this, you just heard him speaking on stage. Yes, yes, yeah. So with this, I wish you all a great lunch and a fantastic time in Davos and in the AI House this week. And again, please welcome on stage all the initiators, sponsors, and partners for a group photo. And over to the lunch. Thank you, everyone.